As you know, I met Rudy in 1971. And I lived in the Denton, Texas ashram. And on one of the trips to New York, that's when I met you. And then I met you again in another of Rudy's ashrams in Portland, Oregon. Uh, and then uh, I left that ashram, and my husband and I lived for a while until he died in 2018. And at that point, I kind of went into a cave. And one of my heroes is Milarepa, who is a patron saint of Tibet. And he went into a cave at one point and became so enlightened, and that's what it did for him. So I decided I was going to make my cave like Milarepa's, and I started working very deeply inside myself. And I used the technique that Rudy had taught us, which I have for every day for almost 60 years. And as I did that, I asked for the next step in my spiritual life. And it was working with Rudy. It was working with God through Rudy. And I said, if it is, if it's good, send me a teacher. And at some point, after probably a couple of months of working every day, I found an email from you from about 2 years previous. And I knew you to be a wonderful teacher. And I'd known that for a long time. And I saw that. And so I thought, well, I think I'll just connect again. And so I did. And it was coming out of my cave and coming into the next step of my spiritual life when I met you. That's where I was sent. And so that's how it happened. And you immediately welcomed me, and we started our connection.
What has changed for you since then, would you say?
Swamiji, I have lived in Rudy's ashrams or near them for in my life for almost 17 years. And in those 17 years, I had not met, and these were his biggest teachers. And in those years, I had not met a person who had the connection with the divine like you do, which is what I have been able to get, which is my connection with the divine for the first time.
Well, it's very sweet of you to say that, so I appreciate it.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
So
What would you say is what kind of insight, any significant insight you have gained, in the years, and you've taken the teacher training, and I mean, I've observed you go through many changes, and but in your own words, how would you characterize it?
I would characterize it as becoming free, actually getting the tools to become free within myself of all the blocks within that I can open and be free in my heart, in my core, in the heart of my being. And that has become the most important thing in my life. And that's what it does. And as I say, go inside and work because that's what Rudy taught. And I still do that. I work inside. And when I do, I become immersed with the divine. That's my aspiration. And sometimes I can do it. And I have learned that my relationships with people in my life have become the most meaningful. And I've shared that with them, and they know it, and they see it, and they accept it, and some of them love it. And I have been able to work with people as I teach meditation, and it helps them. And I see how it helps them, and it helps me at the same time. So becoming an Acharya, which I take very, very seriously, and Devadas, which is the name you gave me, which is servant of God, I do that. I am not. I can be that. It's the most beautiful thing that's happened to me, and I'm very grateful.